This game is called Wuthering Waves, and what's funny is the more I look into it, I think this is probably a game that I probably would have seen on like an Instagram ad. For those curious, like the way I found out about Genshin Impact, the way I found out about Tower of Fantasy, the way I found out about Honkai Star Rail, they were all from like Instagram ads. So I kind of have this thing where like whenever I see like an anime type game from an Instagram ad, I'm like, okay, it's probably like a Genshin Impact-esque game. I'm assuming this is the type of game that it would be like that I would see an Instagram ad on, because it is very much like Genshin Impact. It's a beautiful looking game. It looks just like Genshin Impact, like visually, amount of polish it has too. It looks like Genshin Impact 2, which I think Genshin Impact is probably one of the more polished games that I've seen. And so this is a JRPG I'm looking forward to because it honestly looks cool to me and something that I would love to try. And I'm assuming it's like Genshin Impact where it'd be like free because it's coming out on mobile, PS5 and PS4. And I have the logline here of the plot, which I'll read really quick, which is: the story in Wuthering Waves is set after the calamity known as the KhUnlimited raised the world of almost all human life. Desperate to survive, the survivors forged uneasy alliances to rebuild some semblance of civilization from its ruins. And I got that from game8.co. Honestly, like Genshin Impact, I like the game. At some point when I want to get back, Genshin was just so deep into its plot and updates where like I was just very confused when I was trying to play it, so I kind of fell off. Tower of Fantasy, when that came out, I tried playing it. I actually really liked it. I really liked the characters, like right out the bat. The kind of female character that's there and like the entire town, I really like their personalities and I really enjoyed the setting and I really like the environment too. But the issue was like it was a very broken game. Like it was very like rough feeling. It was not polished like Genshin. I was playing it on my phone. I tried attaching a controller and that worked, but like some things wouldn't work. So if I want to talk to some people, X wouldn't work and I would have to press the screen even though I'm using the controller. So like it would be very little weird things like that. And at some point it was buggy enough where I said I would wait for it. Now we have Wuthering Waves, which apparently is kind of similar. One thing that I like about Wuthering Waves, which is not like Tower Fantasy, is at least based on the trailers, it looks polished. Like it doesn't look like rough as Tower Fantasy did. It looks legit, like pretty much like what I imagine Genshin Impact to look like. It looks a lot more like, I believe it's Zenless Zone Zero, like the more like urban game where like you have characters, like one of the characters of the gameplay I watched was using pistols and it was very fast-paced combat. You can switch on the fly with characters to fight. Now they're fighting like multiple wolves. It looked really cool visually. It's really nice gameplay wise. It looks really fun. The environments look nice and vibrant and like they look like they're fun to explore. They were also doing this cool maneuver to move around, which is like this air grapple thing. It was very similar to Monster Hunter Rise, I believe. You kind of have this mechanic where you can kind of grapple the air and then kind of like just keep grappling like that. And so I saw that in this gameplay where like, yeah, the characters were just straight up grappling onto the air and pulling themselves forward. In terms of like UI, it looks like pretty simple. There's like a mini map and it looked very Genshin Impact-y. There was a mini map. There was like the 3 characters on the right, which is like the party members. The UI I would say could use a bit more tuning up. It looked very mobile-y where like the text font was very basic. What's weird is like, so usually mobile games have like large UI because you're playing on your phone, but there was some UI that was very huge, understandably because it's a mobile game, but some that was small. So like when they're in the pause menu, a lot of the text was very big, so I'm like, yeah, this is clearly a mobile game. But when they're in the gameplay mode, the mini map was like very fucking small. And I mean like very small. Like if I was playing like even like on a big phone, like I have a iPhone 15 Pro Max, like if I was playing on this, a mini map would probably be like half an inch big on a big phone, which is pretty tiny. And so like on a smaller phone, like the mini map would be like almost useless. So I thought that was funny how some of the UI elements of the game looked very small while some looked very big. And it wasn't clear what platform they were playing it on, but that didn't really matter because some UI elements were big and some were small. So hopefully the UI gets a bit more tuning up. But yeah, that is a game that is coming out on mobile, PS5, PS4. It is not out yet. I checked their website and they have like an insane amount of pre-registrations. I think it was like 19 million or some shit, which seems absolutely wild because usually like 1 million sales in games are like really good. And I know this is free, but 19 million pre-registers is fucking wild. So yeah, we'll see how the game does, and if it comes out and is decent, I'll try it. I probably will try it. It's free. There's no reason not to try it, but I'll probably try it and then talk about my thoughts in Spill The Tearal. But yeah, that is a JRPG I'm looking forward to.